Doug Stockman here. I just thought I'd share with you a little bit about a program I have been working on lately. It's a population management program. So just be a brief introduction to what it does so far. As I said, it is still being created, but I have made a fair amount of progress, so I'll share what I've gotten so far with you. First step in managing a population of patients is to select the population. On the right-hand side, you can use multiple criteria to select the population. For example, if you wanted to choose all your diabetics, you could put in an ICD-9 number and then move it to the selection criteria as you build. Let's say you wanted all diabetics who have an A1C greater than 9. Just do something like this and add it to the criteria. Because I use this program on a day-to-day basis with my patient population, I cannot actually show you how well this works because I would have a HIPAA violation. Another way to select a population would be to load in by MRNs, medical record numbers. I'll use this as just an example with some test patients. And now I could type in the MRNs that are separated by a comma. I could paste in from another source. I can also load a file of MRNs that I have saved previously. One example I use for this is I paste in the MRNs of the patients I'm going to see for my session today, and then I can manage that session of patients. Another thing we use is for patients who are on warfarin long-term, and we that population for their INRs on a regular basis. We have a file saved of about 100 MRNs, and I just import that, and then I can work that population as needed with just a couple, 3 clicks. I select the population. So you can have all of these viewed, or you can unselect and then select individuals from here that you want to work, or you can choose them all. Very simple, very straightforward. You can also go to demographics for an individual patient and make changes there. You save the searches that you've done over here and load them in later to ease it, your favorite searches. Right now, let's move to the basic stats tab up here. This is just very simple right now. I put a few things in to show what is possible as a starting point. For example, demographics just looks at gender, age group, and zip code presently. There are many more things where you can build in the future. Additionally, in the future, I'll probably use this space over here for graphs of various aspects of what I'm studying. Now, what you can do is look at the diagnoses in your population that just rank orders them from most common to least common. We also have medications and then things like vital statistics, visits, that sort of thing. Basic stats done here just to help define the population for you. To do, I like to think of the to-do list kind of as, well, a to-do list. So let's say Edward is being seen in the office, and I don't have time right now to do other things. I can drop in what needs to get done or things I need to worry about in the future. This is particularly helpful if you're working with someone in the exam room, such as an interpreter or case manager, and you want to put in here things that need to get done later and cannot get handled right now. This is just a very easy way to drop in to-dos for this patient, and you can drop them in. You can done them so that it falls off the list, etc. From this tab, we can also manage all to-dos. This will help you, let's say, if you just want to know what your to-do list is like for today. See what's coming up, and you can do it, sort it by date or by patient or various other criteria. Another thing you can do is, let's say you're working on one of these patients, say, boy, they're really struggling. They need more help than I can do right now. By clicking here, you can add them to the high list tracker. You can also open the high list tracker from here. And this allows you to put in a few more details of the patient. Let's say these are some of the things I have to think about. I can put in social determinants of health, I can include other people who are involved with the care of the patient. In the future, I will put probably in this tab, contact the patient directly, send messages to the staff, or contact consultants so I can collaborate better. A pretty straightforward concept. Next tab is patient reports. And actually this whole population management thing came out of this. I wanted to create reports for patients to help them better understand some of their health parameters. I just have 2 in right now, but this list can definitely grow as time goes by. As an example, let's say Edward is a diabetic and I want to create a diabetes report. I just click on create report and I get to see a report based on Edward's data for diabetes. It's color coded to make it very easy for the patient to better appreciate what is going on and areas they need to work on and areas that they're doing well in. Similar to this, I also have created a patient report card for preventive stuff and a few other things. It's just a different report. The text in these things can be changed because it is really just a templated file for at least the text part of this. This is just another example of some of the things that we're looking at that the patient may need or is doing well on. Pretty straightforward stuff, but much better than the patient education material we hand out presently in our office. Next tab is group reports. This one is, again, a work in progress, but we're building a bunch of different things. As one example, for patient session to-dos, I told you before, I load in a list of my patients for this session. This allows me to build a list for that population of things that might need to happen. You can do a brief for a patient session, such as run report here, just gives me a very simple what needs to get done for that patient. If I wanted to use the color-coded concept again, I can do something like this, and then my patients for my session or for whatever group it is, I can see very simply what I need to focus on for that visit or for this patient population. I have many other reports in here. Some are, let's say I chose, I want all the patients with a tetanus vaccine in here. In my patient population I'm going to study, I could just get a basic count of who had the vaccine or who needs the vaccine, that sort of thing. You combine it with the population you choose, and then you can get numbers as to who needs what. Other things are I can do such as an INR report, and that will tell me their INR levels. Edward and Edwina don't have any INR, so that won't help much. I can also choose to see lab values. Once I choose that, then I can go to a specific lab value. Let's say we wanted to see their hemoglobin A1Cs. I would just add that here, and then I could choose how many I were to display from most recent to least recent. They don't have that many in here because they're just test patients, but you get the idea. I could look at the whole population and see where they sit. I can put in multiple labs in and just do an OR here to get multiple labs into one screen. I do have multiple tabs, so you can have multiple reports going at one time on one population, and you get to save them to a file or copy them and paste them somewhere else, that sort of thing. This tab is communication tab. This eases the process of contacting patients. We can sell text patients who have agreed to it. We can email. We can also write letters and send it to patients. On the left-hand screen is your population, and Edward is selected, and these are all the prior contacts we've had with Edward. And so I can look at those to see if I've already contacted Edward, for example. The center is where my message will be. On the right are pre-canned templates. As an example, let's say I want to contact all my patients who need their INR, they're behind. I could just choose something like this, have all my patients selected, hit send to cell, and then patient's first name will be placed in this variable, and all the patients within a few seconds will be texted that they need their INR. Example you can do is we can replace these variables with other text. This says Edward, please schedule an appointment to discuss whatever you want, you would put into here, and the message one would be replaced. So for example, colon cancer screening. I could type that in here, and then when I texted this group of patients, it would say, message from family medicine, Edward, please schedule an appointment to discuss colon cancer screening. And then Edwina would be the same thing, but with her name in. Pretty straightforward. Now, you could also just select one patient or more than one, and you could type in a new message here and then send it to cell. It's the same concept for email, and there's different templates for email and letters, and whether you want to use the patient language, include the letterhead, and using whatever templates that you or your office would like to create. It just makes contacting patients so much easier. And so far, the final tab is chronic care management. As you may know, Medicare created a bunch of years ago a program that allows clinicians' offices to get paid additional money when they do work outside the exam room. In this case, just show you a simple example. Here's Edward. I'm tracking these problems. These are some more details of the problem I need to get done. Then I can list interventions I've already done. Probably the most important part about this tab, though, is that you can track how long you spend on a patient. As an example, let's say I wanted to do some outreach to Edward and talk about where he is with getting his labs done, that sort of thing. I would start the timer. Now I have to put in here who's doing the contacts. And I'm going to say cell phone, and I'm going to say disease management. I can start the timer, and then you see that this starts going. So as I'm calling Edward on the phone, I can be typing a note. I can be updating some of this other stuff. And once I'm done, I can stop this, and it will be saved for later viewing. This is a prior one. It just shows you the elapsed time, pause time, what we did, that sort of thing. So again, this program is still being built, but I think you can appreciate some of the significant benefits of using this program. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed.